Hello and welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that bit of footage there. I said last week I'd pinched a smooth set of wheels out of another diesel rail car. So I've got my other diesel rail car there on the layout today, and I've also pinched a dummy set of bogies from a green one. If you look at the insert picture there, or insert pictures, you can see both the original ribbed set of wheels which came from the model we were looking at last week, and the dummy set from the super detailed green model there. But this is the original model I was running last week from the set from the early 70s, the number of which I can't remember. So last week we saw some great footage from the Train Collector Society from the 11th of September, and I said I'd bought a number of items, and we said we'd have a look at those this week. So we're going to have a quick look over those, I think. None of them in too much detail, I don't think, because there's quite a pile of items. So I'm going to cut between bits because it's a bit difficult to run through this pile of things sort of one-handed, but we'll have a look and see how we do. Now, I didn't buy all of these on the day. I had intended to pick a number of these items up from Dave Angell back at the Train Collector Society show at the beginning of 2020, and I think most of us remember what happened in early March 2020, what was happening. Whilst the show wasn't cancelled, I didn't feel comfortable at the time making that journey there with what was going on. I felt safer staying at home, but since then I have bought a number of other items from Dave in the time that's passed, so it seemed like a good time to pick them up. These items probably wouldn't have reacted very well to postage, or are difficult to post. So as we knew we were going to see each other, we decided that this was the time to do it, and he held on to these items over the time for me. But we can see here we've got some of these great Young and Frog buildings on the top here. Now I'm going to have to get the list of buildings. I've got a rough printed page from the catalogue here. So we'll see what we've got. So I know I've got an inn and a vicarage. I've got the terraced house. I've got the village store there. You can see the model numbers. So village store is R.056, and the terraced house is 375, and the vicarage is 374, and the inn is 368. I do have a number of other of these. You'll have seen them on the older layout perhaps, and the Osthaus, or Osthaus, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. That's 362. And I think all of these items are available between 1960 and 63, is it? I'm just going to check my notes, otherwise I am just guessing here. Let's have a quick look here. So 62, sorry about the camera wandering around there. I am going to have to sit down on the floor here. So let's have a quick look at these items. So I think this is the terraced house. You can see these do degrade over time, and they've been stuffed with newspaper to try and encourage them to keep their shape. So I quite like these, even though they are all warped and faded. I think they are really quite lovely things. They must have been even nicer at the time, with bolder colours perhaps when they were first produced. And it is like a rubber style material. I don't know whether that shiny stuff there is something that's been added to them to later date. Let's just pop that one down. And we'll have a look at this one. So I think this is probably the village shop. Looks like a post box on the corner next to the door there, doesn't it? So again, quite faded colours. I'm not sure that the catalogue colours really represented what the true colours were, because the catalogues were largely illustrated from pictures at the time as well, I think, rather than photographs. And very possibly these models were hand finished in the first place, so there must have been some variance perhaps in the way they were done, and perhaps they've been touched up a little over time. You see some quite severe cracking in there. They are quite fragile, but they're going to be reasonably well looked after from now on. I think they'll live for another layout at least, I think. So it'd be nice to have them, all of them together on a layout. So which one have we got here? So this is perhaps the inn, I think. So let's have a look round it. It's a very crooked chimney on there, isn't it? So I apologise if I've got the models mixed up there. So a great double set of doors there, perhaps. And there was a secondary, not a secondary, like a detailed pack that could be bought, which I do have, but I can't currently lay my hands on it. We'll have a look at these Young Frog items at another time. I do have some other bits and pieces, perhaps. When we change the layout, we'll have a look at them. I think this is the vicarage, a nice half-timbered building. Let me just grab the that catalogue page, and we'll have a quick glance at this. Excuse me, reaching around for these things. Yeah, like a detailed pack here. So I do have one of these tucked away. Countryside assembly pack. So you've got like a TV aerial and a weather vane, perhaps, for the church. I'm not quite sure what that item is. There is a sign for the pub. Look, the Railway Inn, village store, and that's perhaps a ladder, maybe. But great set of items. As I say, they are in quite, what's the word? A deteriorating condition. I think they're not going to get any better. So, a number of other items here. I'm just going to widen the camera a little bit. I notice we're very tight in here. So I mentioned the footbridge. So there is the footbridge, a later one, a modern footbridge. If you have a look at the insert picture there, R.051. I think this came along in the 1970 and lasted till 79. So a variety of boxes perhaps available for that over the years. So it sounds like it's made of very rattly plastic. This is quite an interesting item. It's the stencil pack. So I think this was available 77 to 79, and it was simply this plastic stencil with the track parts all cut out, and it came with, I think it's 4 or 5 sheets of what's the word I'm looking for? Graph paper. I'm concentrating on other things. I think it's our R.639. Let's see if I can get out the actual piece. And it doesn't seem to be green like it's illustrated on the package. It seems to be white plastic with red printing on it, but quite a lovely item, I think. I've been on the lookout for one of those for a long, long time. Very interesting. So I'm just going to pop that back in there so we don't lose it. Let's see if we can hold that up a little higher. Just have another glance, I think, at that at the whole package there. Again, quite an interesting item, I think. And there, this is a really lovely box on this. I think the box is probably more interesting than the items contained within it. A large station set, I get the words again, a large station set R.459. So I think this was 1962 to 63. This was available, came along with the new style buildings in the early 60s. And it really is quite a lovely picture, isn't it? Let's see, I think the unusual thing about this box is the shape of it, and again plenty of nice rusty staples in that, so it has suffered. It looks like it's been damp at some point. It isn't complete, and I have dropped in a couple of the missing pieces since I've brought it home, so it is quite a nice thing. And the station building there would have had a lamp in it, a battery operated lamp. There's the contact, and that would have been operated by the moving the chimney to switch the light on and off. Again, single-handed here. I'm not able to demonstrate that very well. So we just pop that down, have a look at the underside of this building here. You can see there's a light bulb in there. There's some corrosion gone on there. I think part of the contact has corroded away, perhaps because a battery was left in it maybe at some point, and it's leaked and caused corrosion. It certainly looks like some leakage in there, doesn't it? But again, a lovely item. Some of the bits in there, I don't think it's got a full set, but a really nice thing to have, principally because of the box, I think. I quite like the box. Whilst the pieces aren't unique, I don't think that I have them in other parts of the collection. So we'll just pop that to one side. There's plenty of tape been on there at some point. And there was a Freightmaster set. So whilst I have a number of sets, I don't have a Freightmaster. I'm trying to control my desire to buy sets because they take up quite some space. So this Freightmaster set, I think, is from 1972. I'm just going to kneel up a little bit so we get a better look down on this set. So I think 1972, and it's got a lovely image. Again, the box is in quite poor condition. Seems to have got some green sticky tape on it there. I'm not going to try and lift that up too much because it's quite a weak box and I don't want it to suddenly collapse. But maybe we'll look at these individual items or sets in slightly more detail at a later date. So that's R.056. I think, what did we say, 1972? So let's just lift off the lid. And that's the same size box as the early 70s turntable as well. So let's just pop that lid off there. So we're getting a little to see the rust marks in the card there, where the track has touched the lid at some point. So again, no paperwork, but it's got that nice plastic moulded insert there, quite fragile. We've got the Class 31 there. You've got a cable drum wagon, a 3-container wagon. So I'll put perhaps a list of the model numbers there, but I can't remember them all off heart. I think some of these wagons have got the effect of glue on them, and I think the milk tank wagon here is missing one of the stays off the end there. I think this wagon has been glued back to its base. I don't know whether I can pinch that out. There certainly seems to be a little bit of a bend in one of those rails there, but there is some little glue marks here and there on some of these items, but still quite a lovely addition of the Freightmaster to get. And they've got the GWR horse box there. So that's got a plastic chassis on it rather than a metal one. Closed axle boxes. You've got the 3-container wagon with the containers there, and a lovely shiny, I don't know whether I can pinch this out. The cable drums have suffered a little through playing over time. I'm not sure whether they're the originals or not, but I'll have to have a look into that, or whether they came with different ones. This has seen some action, I think. It does run. It's a little bit on the hesitant side, so it will need a little bit of attention, but we should perhaps have a look at that at another stage. I'll leave it in its current condition. Perhaps we'll open it up and have a look at it at some point. I'm not going to fight with that at the moment. It does pinch back in there, but 2 hands will make this work so much better. I'll just pinch out a couple of pieces of these, this early System 6 style track there. See the half sleeper ends and the built-in fish plate, which is moulded around the track bed there to hold it in position. So I think that sort of limited the life perhaps of some of this track. So I think there's an oval of track in there, and then we do have the uncoupling ramp and marker there. So I'm just going to pop this to one side, and we shall have a look at something else. Let me pop that over there. I'm getting very hemmed in here. So I was very pleased to get these things, as you can imagine. But as I say, they represent purchases over time rather than of a single day. So this is just a lovely little set, RS4, I think, coming from 1960. I think this one has its paperwork, and you can see it is a very poor box. It's just again, it just comes under the heading of a lovely item to have, really. And I have discovered the part of one of the missing labels is tucked inside one of the wagons in here. Let me lift off this lid. And it is just a lovely picture, that, isn't it? I think we've seen that before on one of my other sets. But it could be quite misleading if you thought you were going to get all of those items within the box. It'd be a lovely box, wouldn't it? So it really is. We'll just pop that up there for safekeeping for now. And there we have that really lovely set. So imagine getting this for Christmas as your first train set. I think part of the packaging for the track is missing. There should be some card inserts in there for the straight pieces. But we've got a Series 3 track. It's a fairly used condition. There should be a bottle of oil, but I think a bottle of oil is missing. We've got a Ginty in there, so a bit shiny on the light at the moment. So quite an early style Ginty. I can't get that out. It's stuck because the card's folded round there with one hand. I'm going to end up doing some damage to something there. So I think we'll leave that as it is. And again, we've got the fish fan and an open wagon. Let's just move that. And then we've got the brake van there. So it really is quite an impressive thing. Imagine opening that up excitedly on your birthday or Christmas, perhaps. So again, let's just pop that to one side. Let's see if we can do this carefully. Let's see if we can encourage that to sit over there. And this set, I was especially pleased to find this is the one I was going to pick up back in March 2020, the 3RD. It's quite special to me, as in the original group of items that were given to my brother and me when we were children from another family member. This made up part of the items, the 3RD set, and I've been on the lookout for one ever since I'd become interested in model railways again. And Dave came up with one for me, so it's quite nice. I'm very pleased to get it. Just have a look at that. I think it's got to be a hand-coloured photograph, hasn't it? Derived from a photograph and hand-coloured. Really is some beautiful items in there. There we see the 262 there in the centre of the picture almost. That is the locomotive in this set, so I'm just going to pop this to one side. It is very, very fragile. The card is very soft on most of these items of this age. So whilst it does have some paperwork, it's just got a servicing scheme booklet. It doesn't have any dating on it. And that piece of corrugated card in there for packaging. And we've seen these service scheme booklets before, so I'm going to lift out the card. Again, very soft. So let's get rid of that. And just have a quick glance over the set. And there we've got that wonderful 262 tank, one of my favourites. Purely because I had one as a child, and I think it's a lovely looking locomotive. I don't think it was ever terribly popular in the range, and this is an early one. All of this set has the Mark II couplings. I believe the 3RD was available with the later style couplings, the Mark IIIs. I think this was available 58 to 59, and there was a version of the set with standard track. I think I can't remember the number of it. We've got the battery controller, a bottle of oil, and this one is still sealed. I think I don't know whether I can pinch that out. Yeah, and there's still liquid within that. Look at that, especially recommended for Triang trains. Lovely item to have. Power clip, and you've got the little lapel badge. Again, that's fixed into the card. I'm not going to pull that out and cause any damage. We'll just have a look at that. That's made of plastic. So that will go on the lapel of your school uniform blazer, perhaps. We've got a milk tank wagon, the old brake van there. We've got a well wagon and a bogie bolster. Perhaps one of these pins are a little bit bent, but again, it's a two-handed job, I think, to get these things out. So I'm not going to try and cause any damage by pulling things out. So that extra excuse the noise in the background there. There's a noise from the neighbours there. It must be moving furniture by the sounds of it. That piece of cardboard here is missing from the other set. So that other set, 1960 to 61, I think, the RS4, but missing some of its packaging. And this label was lying around in the box here as well. So it was nice to find bits of labelling and stuff. Avoid over oiling. So it's a very good advice, I think. So I'm just going to see if I can move this set out of the way, and we shall have a look at the final couple of items. So I'll leave that safely over there. So I do have a handful of these long Super 4 straights. So I just recently bought some track from Dave, and this was part of it, but because they were difficult to post, I'd arranged to pick these up. So these are $4.89, I think. Let me have a quick glance at the notes. Yeah, $4.89. I think these are available from 62 till the end of Super 4 in the early 70s. Let me just sit down again. So they're going to be really useful for getting some of the long straights there. That fish plate's a bit rusty, but you know, it is what it is, and it's at least 40 years old, this track, but we're going to get use out of it. So this set, I don't know the number of it, and you can see there it says Hornby. I don't know whether I've got this the right way up. I have got it the right way up. It just says Hornby 60s, 70s, and 50 on there. I don't know who's written that on there. I don't know the set number. I think it's a mail order set. I was very pleased to get this. This I think is from 75 to 77 perhaps, and it's the Iron Duke set, or I know it as an Iron Duke set. Let's see if we can encourage that card to stay over there. So this is a cut down version of the Britannia, made for the catalogue houses. I haven't got one of these. I'm very, very pleased to get this. So I think we'll take a break from the video in a moment. I'll get this all set up for running. I'll give it a quick go over. Perhaps we'll open it up and have a look inside it, see how it is. The coaches are quite lovely condition. Again, I do have some of these coaches, but these ones, I think, for the catalogue sets, they didn't have the black lining printed on the edge of the coaches. I think the ones I have some black detailing down the sides. So I don't think the set's complete. It's definitely missing a card cover on the set. I think it would have had one, from what I've seen online, it would have had a picture, quite a general picture of engine sheds, perhaps a turntable with lots of locomotives and items standing in it. Having seen the pictures online, but nobody's actually got the product number of the set. So if anybody knows the product number, I'd be really interested to hear. But that's quite a pretty version of the Britannia. We've got closed axle boxes on the tender, so they'd already made the jump, I think. I don't know whether I can pinch these out or whether it's attached to the... No, I'm not going to be able to get that out. It's stuck in there, so we'll not cause any damage by trying to do these things one-handed. So I'll get this out on the rolling road, perhaps have a quick look over it. And we'll get the coaches and stuff on the layout. So you've got a battery controller, bridge ends. And I don't know whether these items are all original. The signal base is there that somebody's snapped off the signals, perhaps. Power clip in red and a buffer. And there's a sticker there that says extra storage space. So perhaps not all of these gaps were filled up with things originally. So there would have been the other bit for the car, and somebody pushed in track pins all the way around. So it would be interesting to find out what the original catalogue number for this for Hornby would have been, or in which catalogues this was marketed. It would be really nice to know. And there I've got the Iron Duke already on the workbench, but firstly let's just have a quick look at a couple of things. So that bit of footage there where I had the DMU running around the layout, I think when it either came to the curved point or this diamond crossing, I think the rear bogie jumped the rails a little bit because I could hear a clicking noise, but I think it righted itself as it came back through here. So I hadn't noticed that when I was filming it. So I've had a little play with it, and I think it's the bogey on this end is causing the problem, just as it rolls over that curved point or diamond crossing. So what I've done, I've switched the wheels around in it. They are sleeved wheels, but one wheel is attached to the axle and one rotates freely on the axle, so I've just reversed them and it seems to have improved it. So you can see here you've got the sleeved wheels. So one of these wheels is like on a spline on the axle, if you have a look at the insert picture, and one of them rotates freely on the axle, and they open and close as they go through them, so they don't have a fixed back-to-back. So you're relying on them sort of self-altering, as it were. So this is the one I pulled off the rear bogie on there and put it in place of the motor bogie on the other blue unit I have. So let's have a quick run round again with that while we're at it. Sorry to keep this all going round and round. So we will have a look at that iron duke. So we'll just make that move away again. Nice and smoothly away. I did forget to mention something about that box, the large station set box, so we'll have a quick glance at that. Let's see if I can remember which way to turn this switch while I'm looking through the camera at the same time. And I have to admit, I've forgotten to put this back on the gimbal, so it is purely handheld again, just in case you're wondering why it's shakier than the earlier footage. There you can hear a slight jump. I don't think reversing those wheels has made any difference whatsoever. So it could have been the diamond crossing where it went as well. I think we seem to be all on this time. So I think I'll just keep an eye on that. So we'll bring that gently to a stop in the station again. There we go. So I'll just pop the controller down and I'll just turn around slowly so we don't get too dizzy. So this wonderful box for the station set, the large station set, I forgot to point out it's a presentation box. And I had made this drawing but forgotten to show it. So it's that lovely shape of the box, and the lid is designed to fold over, if you have a look at that. So I'm in my own shadow here. So you display all the contents, and there's a fold in the lid. If we have a look at the box lid, let's move that piece of white paper. And you see there's a fold being put in the box there in manufacture. So when that lid could come up, and then I'm not going to fold it because I don't think this one's ever been folded. It will crack the printed surface. I really don't want to do that. So that would fold round, and this tongue here could push down into there, so you'd have that nice display with the image and the model number. So imagine this was when the new range of buildings had come along for Triang Railways. So that could have been quite impressive, with the set standing on the shelf in the toy shop, and perhaps these red edges were folded down there. So this is very distorted because it's been damp. And maybe they had the building sitting in the box and the shop window perhaps all illuminated, and I think with that image there and the words large station set and the illuminated building might have been quite a nice thing. I imagine the packaging was a little bit smarter and these bits would have been displayed perhaps. So I just thought I'd show that. I had meant to mention that. Let's have another quick glance at this very rough drawing I've made there. Again, I'm in my own shadow quite a bit there. So you can see how that would have looked very smart in the day, either on the shelf in the toy shop or in the window. So I thought I may as well exploit these handheld controllers a little bit here, and we'll just have a go with the DMU from this side. So I perhaps should have done that in the first place. So we'll just give that a little power, and we'll perhaps hold that up a little bit more. So out through the points, and we'll get a lovely shot of it coming underneath the bright bridge. And let's see it come across this curved point. Yeah, pretty good that time, I think. And again, sorry about the shaky camera work here. Pure laziness, I haven't reattached this to the gimbal. And we'll see if we can stop that roughly in the same place in the platform. About there. So we'll just pop down the handheld. So at the moment, it's just sort of going to live under there. So I really must get an extension for that, I think, and plumb it in so I can just plug it in on this side a little bit more neatly, perhaps. Just have a quick glance at these wonderful engines whilst we're here. I think they look quite terrific, standing in the sidings like that. But let's have a swift look over the Iron Duke, which is what we keep saying we're going to do. So I've just opened it up, and it's exactly as it is, exactly as it came to me. Let me just pull this chair in a little bit more, and we'll just have a quick glance over this. So I'll just give it a little power. So I have run it in the past. I have tested it, and it does run. It is a little bit hesitant. So this hasn't had any oil or anything. I know Dave didn't service it because he asked me if I wanted it servicing. I just asked him to leave it as it was. So there we go. And we'll give it one more go. See, it is a little bit sticky. But if we just have a look at that, it is quite dry. So we won't run it too much like that. We'll just have a quick look over the top of it there. And you'll see somebody, I think, has potentially maybe put these bends in on purpose. Sometimes you find if you try and straighten these things out, you find they don't run again. So it's always an idea to run it first and see why something's got a bend in it, because they're not all perfect, these models. They have had a lot of play. This one definitely seems to have seen some track time. So I'm just going to swap from one camera to another now, and we'll just have a quick look at the bodywork here. So I think this is just the moulding from the earlier Britannia model, and it's got this running number on it there, 70014. I believe there was another running number for this model, and it changed partway through its production. So I think this is a solo model. May well have been R.056. So it was sold in the mid-70s, and that is just a paper label. See if we can get some focus on it there with Iron Duke. So it's not perhaps paper, it's sort of a metallized paper, very shiny, just stuck on there. Obviously it has the absence of the smoke deflectors of the Britannia models, but I think it's in reasonably good shape. We'll just have a quick look down this side, and then we do have some detail in there. I'll try and get another picture to pop in the corner there, because I think we're deep in shadow where I'm standing here, sadly. And let's have a quick look at the inside of the bodywork. I've just dropped the securing screw. I knew I should have taken that out and put it somewhere safe, but it's just dropped onto the towel here. So it does tend to stop things bouncing and rolling further onto the floor. There you can see the securing screw would go through there. You can see it's a little bit dusty and hairy on the inside, a little bit of oil splattered around, but in fairly nice condition. So I think we've got Hornby's name down there. Let's see if I can get a little better focus on it there. So I think we've got, let's see, can we get focus? There we go. I think we've got it. I think that says Hornby there, and I can't quite read what it says below. That could be made or built in Britain. I think that is. I think that's going to be built in Britain. Let's see if we can get that. If I hold it too close to the camera, it just jumps straight out of focus. But let's pop that one down. I think we do have plastic buffers on there. I think they're possibly original, although they could well have changed over time. So we'll just pop that down. Now the tender is quite interesting. I have just popped it apart, so we've got the tender top there. It has got some what looks like potential damage there. You see these very, very fine hoops here This detailing here looks like it's been knocked in the past, so I need to be very, very careful with that. Now the Britannia models obviously had a ladder on the back here, so I don't know whether this one originally had a ladder. It's certainly got the holes for it, but being a cut down model or a basic model for the catalogue houses, maybe it wasn't fitted with one. So we'll just pop that top off there. So we've got the weight in there, and it is loose inside at the moment, it is rattling inside. Let's just pop that off. I think that tender base there could easily accommodate the Ringfield motor, couldn't it? It certainly looks like it could. So we've got the sleeved wheels a little bit like the diesel rail car there. So you can see they're sort of self-adjusting, so there's no fixed back to back on those, and you've got the metal coupling just screwed in there. Let me pop those bits down, and then just have a quick look at the tender again. So, the tender top, and have a quick look on the inside there. So all fairly tidy, but it's quite an interesting model to have as part of the collection. We'll just pop that down and have a swift look over the chassis here. So I'll just lift that up. It does have the magnet adhesion, so it does have a potential for a lot of pulling power, shall we say. You see, it just needs a little bit of minor cleaning up and lubrication, I think, and it will vastly improve its performance. You see, it's quite hairy as well. It's quite sticky, so I think just a little bit of light cleaning here and there will have this in much better shape. So I'll get on with that, and we'll have a look over it a little bit later on. So there she is on the inside line. We'll just follow her around the layout, and we'll get her in a position where we can collect the brightly coloured coaches that came with her in the set. Quite a nice view from ahead. You keep catching a glint of light on those sort of foil nameplates. They're quite smart, I think. Although I imagine that they could have got lost rather easily over time with too much handling, perhaps. There is those coaches. Let's see if we can have a gentle stop there. So I'm just going to widen the camera a little bit, and then we'll see if we can get the points changed. Let's see if we can open this up a little. There we go. So we'll just wander over here and grab point number 1R here. So that leads into where the coaches are. So the entrance to where the turntable is and so on. So let's give that a little power now. I think we have those. Ooh, excuse the floorboards there. So we'll ease that out onto the inside line. Actually, no, we're not going to ease that out onto the inside line right now. We're going to move the diesel rail car. So let's just close up the points again. Yeah, one of the drawbacks is it's not quite heavy enough. When you put it down, the cable is heavy enough to pull it down onto the floor. So you have to be careful in your thinking with it. So we need points number 1. And then we need to energize the track in the station. So let's see if we can back this diesel rail car out of here, and then we'll put her onto this platform there. So let's give that a little power. Let's see if we can see that run underneath the canopy there. That gentle whine from the motor. You can see I'm clearly turning the switch the wrong way there. So we need to switch 5B there. So let's see if I can grab that. I'm looking in the wrong place. And let's roll that rail car back into the side of there. Let's see if we can view it from the front here. Gently in there. We'll see if we can stop it before we roll into that buffer. Yeah, it helps when you turn the switches the wrong way. So obviously when I'm concentrating on looking through the camera, I'm just turning that in the wrong direction. So let's try and switch these points so we don't have any accidents while we're playing with the train. So we want number 5 again, 5B, and then 1B, and then 1R. And I think I'm going to do 7R as well. And then we'll roll this train around and onto the outside line. So ideally that diesel rail car is not going to move. So let's go for some power. I'm just going to flip the gimbal around there so we can try and get a slightly more interesting view as she comes around here. See if we can get it across far enough to look down the other side of the train. And then we go onto the outside line. I'm just glancing down at the controls to make sure I'm going to turn the switch in the right direction. There we have it. So I'm going to play with the points again now. So we want 7R. Now I'm just going to check on those because I've been having a couple of misfires on these. So I'm not sure whether there's a loose connection or something. Sometimes only one of those is firing on the return. I've had predictably a couple of derailments and so on in the last few days. So we have the entire outside line now. So let's tighten this up a little and see if we can get some interesting shots. Let's have a storm around the outside line. So let's go for a little power. I think you would have been quite pleased getting this set for a birthday or Christmas, whether it's budget or not. It's quite an impressive group of models. You don't often look that side down that side of the station. Let's see if we can come around, get in front of her as she comes along here past the long sidings. I'm very conscious that I might back into something any moment now. Going for a little more power, and I'm definitely standing on the squeaky floorboards at the moment. We'll go for a slightly more elevated look. And off she goes. A little bit more power there. We'll just stop that there. So I think what we'll do, we'll just run that around onto the elevated section now. So if you excuse me a moment while I fiddle with the points. So I'm dancing around this cable. I'm trying not to get my feet tangled in that. So let's flip flip the gimbal round as well. Excuse me, not pointing at the subject there. So we'll open number 1B and 2B. Sorry, I'm looking at the switches rather than anything in particular with the camera. So I colour coded these points because they're in basic areas which I remember, rather than just 1 through to whatever number points I've got. For instance, all the points with the green are all connected with the elevated section. So it was just some effort for me to try and remember which points did which. I think on the last layout I had 21 points numbered sequentially 1 through, running round the layout. I never could remember what was what. So let's give this a little power. Let's drive up the hill on the curved section. So we'll go for a little extra power now. So we've definitely got a derailment there. So let's see if we can solve this problem. Let's see where that is. So these things happen. And I thought I had everything set correctly there, so let's just back up a little bit and let's see what's really going on. Or whether it's just plain bad luck. So let's give that another go. So the coaches sound a bit jumpy through that last point. Let's get down low and watch that climb. This is absolutely effortless. It's got the magnet adhesion. It's got 2 magnets in this model on both front and rear drive wheels. So it gives it extra pull-in power. And now we're going for the descent now. So apart from the derailment, that was all quite effortless. So I think we'll probably just give that another go. Storming round there. We'll back off a little bit for the points. He says, and then turns the switch the wrong way. Yeah, the coaches are a little bit jumpy through there. So let's get that all on the incline and then we'll do a move off. So there, that's all climbing. So we'll give that a little power and see how she does. Effortless. I think I said that before. So let's bring that back down onto level ground. Looks pretty good. So I'm going to increase the power along the straight here. See how we do. Looking pretty good, I think. Definitely great fun running at that speed, but it is going to jump the rails at some point, isn't it? So perhaps we won't persist with that. So I'm going to bring this back onto the inside line, and we will run it into the station in a moment, because I did clear the line for that. But what I want to do is perhaps add a couple of coaches, but I'm just going to close the elevated section for now. So there we go, and then let's just bring it back onto the inside. So a little power. So we'll just bring it to rest near the DMU there. And we mentioned these coaches before may have been made in a slightly cut down manner, and that they weren't decorated quite as the ones in the regular catalogue. They don't have the black line. Potentially they may have carried a different running number. But in earlier videos I've shown this set of coaches. I'll try not to move too quickly. So we have these ones, which are, here is the ones from the regular catalogue. You see you've got the black line above and below the window there. So that's 626. Actually, no, that's not 626, that's the brake. This is 627. So this one's 626. These all have the white rimmed wheels and pinpoint axles. And the ones on the railway there have a full set of silver seal wheels with the square section axles, which can become quite bendy. And this is 628, the buffet. Again, got the black lines there. So I think what we should do is perhaps put these on to improve the rake, and we'll see how we do with that. And I'm fairly confident there'll be no issue with the climbing on the elevated section. And I think there's no shortage of power whatsoever. So let's just grab the buffet car there. So one of these coaches has its box. I'm sure we've seen these in an earlier video there. So the box is in a fairly poor condition. So let's grab that, and we'll pop this on. So if I've got the dates right, this video is probably being shown, you're seeing it between Christmas and New Year. So I'd like to wish everybody happy Christmas. Thanks again for watching the videos in the past sort of months. It's very nice that you do. And I know at this time of the year, if you've taken the time to watch it, it's probably at the expense of something else, because many people have things to do at this time of year, lots of commitment. So really thank you for taking the time. And I hope you're all having a great time with whatever it is you're planning to do this festive season. So let's pop these onto here. But as it stands at the moment, I think today is the 25th September, so it seems a little early to be thinking about Christmas. However, there is a store nearby to me that already has all the Christmas chocolates, which is quite alarming to see. They don't even have the Halloween taken care of yet. So I suppose the back to school's happened, and it's Christmas items in rather than Halloween. There we go. I think we'll put the buffet on that way around. So anyway, thanks again. It's great that you're watching, and this video has probably turned into a bit longer than I'd thought, but it just seemed daft not to do this. So let's give this a little power now, and we'll just we'll open up, actually, because we want the back on. We'll just bring around. If I start to think too far ahead, I'm going to leave the points incorrectly set, which is a fairly normal state of affairs. So let's see if we can get far enough back and see the whole rake there. Makes a lovely sound. A combination of the silver seals and the plastic wheels. So I think we'll bring it to rest there, and we'll just alter the point work now. So let's see what we can do with the wire that I'm going to trip over any second now. Yeah, definitely brings its own set of problems, that. So we are going to close this one, and this one, and we're going to open that one and that one. So that should take us up and over. Let's give that a go. Sorry, I'm not pointing in the right direction again. I'm looking to see if I've got that the right way up and which way I'm going to rotate the switch. So quite a bit of friction here, I think, coming through this point. I think I said earlier it has the double magnet on both front and rear drive wheels. So I'm just going to stop that there, and I'm going to widen that so we've got more of a view. There we go. So we can see the whole picture. So let's give that a little power and see if she moves away on the slope there. We've got the full set of 6 coaches on there now. And she's not moving away at all. So I wonder whether we've just got the piece of dirty track there. Let's have a go. There we go. So not much effort there, apart from the reluctance to move in the first place. I don't think that's got anything to do with the power though. And there's a lot of weight here, so I'm just going to take a bit of power out of that. And we'll bring that around. So it is great, this handheld controller, but I hadn't really anticipated getting tied up in the cable. So I think we're just going to bring that to a stop there, and we're going to fiddle with the point work again, and we'll drive her into the station. So let's yeah, I'm going to have to come up with a solution for that. So we want to switch that and that and that, and then station's still energized. So let's get a nice wide view of that. You've got the front end of the diesel rail car there. That looks excellent. So we'll draw all the way under the canopy. I think we'll just bring it right to the end of the platform there, just so we can see the Iron Duke nameplate just there. So I think that's probably it, and this is probably the last video of the year. So thanks again for watching, it's hugely appreciated. I'm going to leave you with a bit of footage of Dave Angell's stall from the show in Leicester the other week. So he kindly let me video some of the stock he's got. It's a bit of an Aladdin's cave. But thanks again, and we'll have some more videos next year. Goodbye now.